I've reviewed one other book by the writer that I'm about to talk about now, and that book is called The Death of the Adversary. I read it a few years ago. Posted a review of the book when I first opened this channel, maybe almost a year ago, and it was probably one of the best books I read that year. Certainly one of the best novels that I read that year. Like I said, called Death of the Adversary. Go check out the review. Just search for Death of the Adversary on the search bar of the channel. It'll pop right up. Hans Keilson, I gave a little bit of a background of his life in that video. He was just an amazing guy. He was a Dutch-German Jew, born in 1909, and just died a couple of years ago. In 2011, he was 101 years old when he passed away. And not only did he turn out to be like one of the the best Dutch writers of the 20th century, he was actually one of the most important psychologists, psychoanalysts, psychotherapists who did really, really groundbreaking work with kids who had suffered through ultra-traumatic experiences in World War II. Ones who had been in concentration camps, ones who had seen their entire families perish before their eyes. And he did really interesting, important work that's still read today about the historical traumatic impacts of World War II on children. So he's actually really well known, relatively speaking. I don't think he's too nearly as widely read as he needs to be here in the States. For two things, which is really neat. So there's this other book that I came across shortly after I finished Death of the Adversary, and it's a little bit shorter. It's quite a tiny book, as you can tell. It's called Comedy in a Minor Key, also by Hans Keilson. So I just want to give you a little synopsis of the book and tell you a little bit about it. The premise is pretty simple. You have this married couple named Wim and Marie, and they decide to take in a Jew named Nico during World War II. And in hiding him, this comfortably middle-class couple, Wim and Marie, learn what it means to live the precarious life of a Jew in the 1940s in Holland, in what would have otherwise been a set of pretty ordinary circumstances. So soon afterwards, Nico becomes ill and eventually dies in their house, leaving the couple in a unique position of needing to dispose of a body no one can know that they have there in the first place. They eventually leave him wrapped in blankets in a nearby park, but they soon discover that they've left a clue to their identity in the blanket. And therefore, in a wonderful turn of irony, Wim and Marie are themselves forced to instantly flee their house for fear of being discovered by the police. So the title is this wonderfully, beautifully appropriate piece of irony, of course, which is fits like a glove. Juxtapositions are everywhere. There's the comic lightness of opera buffa as Wim and Marie try to figure out how to get rid of Nico's body, but also the crushing dramatic realization of how this has to all come about because of how some human beings have chosen to treat other human beings as less than human beings. The interplay of the quotidian as the couple go about their day-to-day experiences in war-torn Holland, with only the audience to find out that this will one day be a place of grand historical importance, is also really wonderful. The writer Francine Prose recently wrote in a piece in the New York Times that she has come to include Hans Keilson in her personal list of the world's very greatest writers. Those are her words, very greatest writers. On that alone, I took up Death of the Adversary, which I said, and was was really, really impressed with Death of the Adversary. I think I gave it a 5-star review. This I gave 3 stars. I enjoyed it, but it didn't strike me as really the masterpiece that Death of the Adversary did. Despite Time magazine's listing it as one of the 10 best books of the year, alongside Nabokov's Pale Fire and Porter's Ship of Fools, Keilson unfortunately fell into obscurity in the English-speaking world. I'm going to find out which apparently this came out in 1947, so maybe that was the same year as Pale Fire and Ship of Fools, or maybe that was Death of the Adversary. I don't remember which one. I wrote this script a while ago. The translator is a guy by the name of Damien Searles, and he just really revivifies the language and brings it into English really admirably, really deservedly. Even when I found, like I said, Comedy in a Minor Key to be a much less rewarding read than Death of the Adversary. The former is, you get this really small, personal, intimate picture of human identity and frailty, touchingly conceived, but it felt underdeveloped. It's small, it's very small, 135 pages, which gives you less time than I would have preferred to get to know Vim, Marie, and Nico as people. In Death of the Adversary, however, you get this sort of world historical looming forces that are always at work in our lives with bigger, abstracter ideas, and probably for that reason it was more compelling for me. My rating of 3 stars might be a little low considering how much I liked it. I didn't know to go with 3 or 4, but I really can't see myself rereading it anytime soon, so I chose 3. But if you really want to introduce yourself, rather short introduction, like I said, to a writer that does not get nearly enough attention in English, here's a place to start. Comedy in a Minor Key by Hans Keilson.